Hi, it's Deanna with Stitches Quilting, and tonight we are going to talk about the Let's Bake Sew Along that Lori Holt is hosting at Be in My Bonnet, and I wanted to show you a thing that I've developed to get organized with the Let's Bake Sew Along. So let me go ahead and share that with you guys. Just one moment. So what we are doing is I have created a binder, and I know I showed you guys this before, but I actually have the True Blue binder here. Hi Carolyn, hi Linda. It's so good to see you guys tonight. Let me know you guys are on and everything else, but I wanted to show you guys the binder that I put together. And I got this teal colored binder or aqua colored binder just because I thought it was a lot of fun. Hi Ann, how's it going? But what I created was this printable that you guys can go to the website and actually print off. And there's a sheet for each one of the blocks because I find this sew along a lot of work. And even if you're not doing the Let's Bake Sew Along, this is a good way to see how to organize, say, a bigger quilt that you might be doing that you're doing in phases. So let's go ahead and get to it. So if you want the link, Jake, is that active yet?
I'm confirming it.
Okay, good. So if you want the link on here, you guys can go download this, and I'm going to give you what to do, but let me show you what it is first. So on this Let's Bake Sew Along, I put the cover right there, and then I got sheet protectors.
Want me to put it on your own page?
That's a personal page, yes, Jake. So we have a block organizer here, and on here are all of the different blocks from the pie blocks. Hi, Joe from Wisconsin. The stitched flowers, the tablecloth, the large red mixer. Every single block is on here, so you can actually show your progress. Yes, we're going to have a fun giveaway today for this. It's going to be fun. So if you share, then that makes you eligible for the giveaway. And then if you want to, you can mark your progress as you go through the quilt by either C when it's cut, you can mark S when you have sewn it together, A when it's appliqued, and E when it's embellished, and then when it's also squared up. So you're gonna kind of keep track of your blocks as you're doing this sew along. Okay, so then this is the instructions for the quilt right here. And it's amazing how those instructions aren't quite enough instructions. Thank you for sharing, Lois. So here you have these sheets that I've put in a sheet protector. And then right here are the blocks for that quilt block, along with, let me take one of these out, along with notes that you can write on there of what the shapes are that you're using for this quilt block, so that you can go ahead and research that and then get these shapes written on here. Here I typed it out for you, but these little square blocks are so that you know the actual shapes that you're using for this quilt block. And then I've put notes on here like use page 11 of the pattern to for the pie holes to applique that on. And I'm going to show you some different things with that. So each one of these is about each of the blocks. So this is just for the pie crust. And then let me put this back into the page protector. So you can see as I go through this. So if you write, what does it say, Jake? Get organized? That mini chat one?
No, one second. The mini chat?
Yes. Can you go back to that and let me know?
Get organized.
Get organized. If you write get organized, I am going to put the YouTube video on, the Facebook video on YouTube. So I'm going to do that in just a little bit. But thank you, Carolyn, for asking.
All lowercase.
Oh, yes. So get organized is what you type in there we go. So Annette just did it. You type get organized, and on Facebook, it will automatically send you the entire PDF for this organized program. So here's my stitched blocks for the chicken scratch blocks, and I can just put everything in there that I need. And here's for the tablecloth, and here's for my block for the KitchenAid. This is for the tablespoons, and you can see I'm even taking some of my simple shapes right here, and I'm organizing them inside this so I don't lose things. So so that when things are properly cut, this is for the apron that we're doing this week. And this is for the egg beater, which we're going to do that tonight. And et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so that's egg carton, and it just goes on and on and on. And each one gives you some little tips, and then you put it in this binder, and you've got everything prepared and cut for you. When you've got it prepared and cut, you have all of your resources right there. Okay. So let me go ahead and show you another thing. Thanks, Jake. We also made a Let's Bake, or a Lori Holt Be in My Bonnet organizer that is just an accordion organizer. So what we did is I just bought this at the office supply store, and we covered it with fabric, but you can see in here are all of my other supplies for this sew along. So I've got extra pieces of my fabric right back here. Like these are all the different gingham pieces. Here's some of the solid pieces that I'll need for this. And then in here I put together just I used page protectors again, and I put the page protectors, the simple shapes in the page protector, just in each one of these different accordion files. This is the interfacing, so I shoved that in there just so that I could have, you have leftover pieces of bias tape that you want to save with this sew along. So I just kept one of those in there that you'll use for other blocks. There's all of my little bias tape holders that I'll need. And here's the glue, the Sue Daily glue, and there's some freight check in there. Here's my nifty needles and my seam So Easy. So I've just organized everything in here too that's a little bit too bulky, because this gets thicker as you've got all of your fabric cut. And then this way I can keep everything organized in here. So this just was really easy. We used some Mod Podge and then put some fabric on top of that and added some embellishment with the ribbons and with some rickrack and things like that. So if anyone's interested in that, this is actually featured in there, but the instructions are not in that post right now. So anyways, this is how I organize myself for this sew along. So let me go ahead and show you a few other little things that I am doing. One thing that I think is really important to do if you're doing the Let's Bake sew along is to take your Sew Simple shapes, because every so often I drop a Sew Simple shape and I leave it someplace, and I don't know, it falls on the ground, it falls wherever. So these are the shapes that you need for this thing, and I take these, and I think this is a really important step in your process, and I take them and I put them on just a regular piece of paper, and then I trace around it. So you can see right here I've got the Sew Simple shape, because I don't want to come to a certain block and not have all the pieces I need. And then I am going to just trace this, and since I can't find that piece, I kind of stop doing the whole quilt altogether. So let me go ahead and trace this. So if I were you, I would go ahead and just and label it. So that's E7. So I did an E7 there with this shape. And so it's really smart because I do misplace some of these. I eventually find them, but I misplace them and it gets frustrating for me. So that's another tip too, because you don't want to have to buy another set, because eventually, you know, you'll find your pieces. It's just when they get misplaced, it sure is a bummer. Okay, I'm going to put that back. All right, so what we are working on today is we are working on a couple different blocks. We're working on the rolling pin block. We're working on the apron block, and we are working on, it's escaping me. Oh my gosh, I don't know. But let me show you the rolling pin block. So what we went ahead and did was the rolling pin block like this, and right now it's just glued together. But I am going to show you how I do my method of applique using this block, and we're going to do half of it hand done, and we're going to do the other half machine done. And I'm going to show you how I go ahead and I do that. And I'm going to show you the stitches that I use and how I go about doing that. So let's go ahead and get started on that. I think is one of the best things right now. But I want to show you another thing that I'm going to show you tonight, which Lori Holt has a new light pad that's out. And then Cricut has a new light pad that's out. And one of the things that you're going to want to do is actually use a light pad, and you're going to trace, or you can use a window, whatever makes you feel the most comfortable. And for the mixer, no, it's the egg beater, sorry. We're going to, so I'm pulling it out of my little binder because I don't want to misplace anything. I think I need to give that a little bit of a press. And the pattern for the egg beater is on page, let's see here, page 11. So I'm going to go to the pattern, and what we're going to do is we're going to actually trace this pattern right onto here. So you can see that this is the mixer, the egg beater right here, and I'm going to show you guys how to use a light box to trace this. So I'm going to turn this on. I don't want you guys to get, geez, we need to kind of lighten that. There we go, that's better. Okay, so you can see here I've got the egg beater, and this is a piece of paper. It's page 11 of the free pattern for this. And you lay this piece of fabric over that egg beater, and we are going to trace that. So then what you're going to do on this particular block is you are going to, and I'm going to actually pin this a little bit to where I'm going to trace that. So let's go ahead and center the egg beater in there. I'm going to put these pins right here on either side. Anna, did you get your package up to Canada? Did you get your package in Canada? I'm so excited. We sent you several packages. It's been really fun. I'm just curious if you got anything in. Okay, so there is, let me see if you guys can see that. That's the milk jug, and this is the top of the pies that we should be doing. But let me see if that's too, I don't know if you can see that or not. Probably lighter, right? Yeah, lighter. But now you're seeing more of this fabric. But you're going to use this, and you're going to just use a pencil, a fabric erase marker. Oh, not yet. I'm sure you'll get it soon, especially. So you're going to use a pencil or a fabric erase marker, and you're just going to trace over the lines. And I do have washable pens that we could be using. And this part you're actually embroidering with a gray embroidery floss. And you're just going to trace this on there. So does that make sense, ladies? And then you'll be able to hand embroider this on. So you just kind of keep working your pattern there. But having a light box, and actually I'll show you this. Anyways, but if you drop this, or if I drop it on the floor, watch this with Cricut. Oh boy. Anyways, this thing, wait, let me grab it, does not break. So this is Cricut's light box. And yes, you can use a window to do it during the daytime. But Cricut's is really indestructible. Lori Holt has one, and that one is also on my website for sale. But this is the Cricut one, which I get from Cricut anyways. But it's a pretty amazing light box. That's how you mark your egg beater block, and use a window or else use a light box. So that's the instructions on that. Now let's get to the hand embroidering or machine embroidering. So let me set this aside, and let me find my cute little block that we're working with. Does anybody remember where I set it down? Sorry, you guys. Oh, it's on this design board. Okay, so here we have the rolling pin right here. And for this, I am actually going to use a thread. I'm going to put this block back where it goes, right there in that binder. I tell you, I just am constantly, I'll lose things. So I am actually going to use some of the Aurifil thread here, and I'm going to pick a tan thread. So This is the tan thread that I would use, that I'm going to use tonight to actually machine applique this down. This weight of thread is a 50 weight thread. So it's an Aurifil thread that's a 50 weight. So that's a basic thread that you would use to actually on your machine. Then for the hand applique, this is an 80 weight thread. And these little guys are actually on like a cork. I can show you this one right here, but it's actually on a cork versus a plastic. Let me hold these up just right next to each other. Sorry. Okay, so on this one, let's open this up with a seam ripper. Okay, here we go. And then we're going to zoom in on the sewing machine when I do this, and zoom in on the stitching when I do this. All right. So get organized to get the printable. If you're not doing the Let's Bake Sew Along, what you can do is actually just download it just to look at it and see what it looks like. Here are these two threads. They're pretty similar. I don't know if you can see that well enough, but this is the 50 weight with the orange top. This is the 80 weight thread that is with the cork right here. Now, let me show you though something else. So Aurifil also has a tan embroidery floss. Does that make sense? And this is on a cork too, but it's a slightly different shade of cork. Well, and you can pretty obviously see the difference in the weight. Hi, Sherry. Yes, everybody, let me know where you guys are from. I love to see where everyone's from every night. So this is obviously an embroidery floss. And I believe there's 6 threads in this embroidery floss. This is what Lori Holt is actually using for her chunky thread. It's got 4 strands in there. But this is the 80 weight thread. This is the 50 weight. So this one, I'm going to go ahead and put in my sewing machine. You can always use a white bobbin in the bottom of your thread when you are actually embroidering with the machine. So here we go. And I'm going to zoom you guys into the sewing machine. So let me move away some of the things that I have laid out here. And I'm going to show you the machine portion first so that you guys can get a vision of what that looks like, and then I'll show you what my hand stitch looks like. So let's go ahead and turn on this sewing machine. And very often I've already glued this in place with that Sue Daily glue. And we're going to let this start up. And I'm going to change my bobbin thread. So here we go. So I'm just changing my bobbin thread to just a basic white. So you can always use a basic white on the bottom of your thread. Now, if you are using just basic threads from your collection, which you should use, is go ahead and just use any regular machine weight thread that is for your sewing machine. And you can use a white thread on the bobbin when you are machine quilting this. So I'm going to start about right here, and then I'm going to come up and around, and I'm going to come down this side and around to this edge for this machine stitching right here. So I'm going to place this over here, and I'm actually going to change from my 1/4 inch foot to an open toe foot so that I can actually see the stitching line a little bit better. So let me go ahead and switch that. And that way you can see where you're stitching just a little bit better there. Okay, so we're gonna get you guys zoomed in on the sewing machine right here. Just wanna make sure there's enough light so that when I zoom you in, you'll be doing great. So I'm going to show you how to machine quilt, machine embroider on your sewing machine. Let's bring this in a little bit closer. And I don't have a left-handed sewing machine. This is just a regular sewing machine that is reversed on there. And I'm going to bring maybe the sewing machine a little bit closer. Let's bring that in. I think that should work really well. So you can see what everything looks like. Has the screen gone fuzzy or anything? Are we still in focus for the evening? So if you want the organizer for the Let's Bake Sew Along, just write Let's Get Organized. And then Facebook will automatically send you that in your, you guys, I'm sorry. I need to thread my machine and I don't know where I set my glasses. Doggone it. Let me grab a pair of scissors and trim this. Luke, did you get a Valentine? My kids are getting ready for Valentine's Day. Did you get a heart? Oh, and you got some things done. Good job, bud. Okay, hold on for 1 minute.
That is?
That's Donald Duck. Okay, so you guys, I'm going to just thread this. I'm really sorry. Luke, do you see any of Mom's reading glasses over there?
No, she gave me this too.
Oh, you got that today?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he got a Valentine from somebody today. Okay, I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, I don't have my glasses on.
I got this too.
Oh, she gave you candy?
And
oh my goodness. Has anyone gotten some Valentines? Where are my glasses? I'm going to go crazy. Okay, just 1 second, ladies. I'm really sorry. Why couldn't I have had this threaded? Now, as you go, okay, it's threaded. Thank goodness. So with Aurifil Thread, oh, that's nice, Luke. So with thread, the higher the amount of thread, the number. Okay, so I really hate doing this without glasses. Okay, so my machine does like a little bit of a knot right before. And I'm going to switch myself so my needle always stays down right here. So that when I'm pivoting, I can actually pivot it. And if you don't have a needle up, needle down button, then you're going to rotate your needle with the side rotation. And then we're going to just turn this around. And I'm actually going to plan on machine quilting my whole quilt, machine embroidery my entire quilt for the Let's Bake quilt because I really enjoy it. I would do some handwork. I like doing handwork, but this quilt I do rather need to get done quickly so that I can be writing other patterns and doing other things while I'm making this quilt. So I'm not going to take the time to do everything by hand, but I want you to see how nicely this looks when it is actually machine embroidered. Okay, we're going to let it end there, and I'm going to cut that off. And I wish I had my glasses on, but that's all right. So that's what my stitch line looks like. Can you guys see that? Doesn't that look nice? And if I had my glasses on, I would have made sure I was a little bit closer to the edge, but you can see that's what it looks like. And I'm just doing one of the smallest stitches possible. So I wish I would have caught a little bit more there. Does that make sense? So that's what it looks like machined, which I think machined looks really nice. Remember, we have our interfacing right behind this, so we're not worried about very many raw edges coming out. Now, let me go ahead and get my needles out and let me show you how to machine hand embroider this and what stitch I actually use for that. So I've got my little package of nifty needles, and we are going to get the embroidery needle right over here. Oh, sorry, right over here. So this is the little package of nifty needles that Lori Holt came out with, which I really like. Remember, they're all color coded for binding, tapestry, sewing, embroidery, chunky, or applique. I'm going to get a smaller embroidery needle. I don't need a very large one. So I don't need the one with the big hole. We're working with an 80 weight embroidery thread that's from Aurifil. So I selected this blue needle right here for embroidery. And I'm going to use this thread right here. I'm just going to take this out of here. So here we go. Whoops, don't want to drop this very far. So you can see there's the thread for that. It's really tiny. I've got you still very much so zoomed in. And Corey, could you grab me a pair of glasses? Corey? What? I'm in desperate need of a pair of glasses.
Reading glasses?
Yes, please. Okay, so I'm going to grab my little thread. Right here in my purse. In my purse is a pair. So we are going to go ahead and right down there on the floor, on the front pocket of my purse. So I'm going to go ahead and just thread this. I did get a needle threader today. I don't know about you guys, if you guys need these yet. Okay, yay. Okay, yay for Corey. Corey is always saving the day. All right, so I've got this threaded. No, I don't. Let's go ahead and put that in again. I'm going to go from the other side. You can use, how do you guys applique? Oh, how do you get this pattern? If you go to my website at stitchesquilting.com, you can see the pattern on the Let's Bake post, and it's a free pattern. It's 22 pages long, but the pattern, it's all about baking. It's a really cute quilt. Gosh, when I look at my hands close up like this, I just think, ugh, I'm so dry. Okay, I'm going to tie a couple knots here. How do you guys finish your knots on the end? There are some pretty nifty ways to finish knots. I'd love to see how some of you guys do it. I did create a group for everybody. So I created a group, and it's called Everyone Can Quilt. I need to show an announcement. Okay, so we did the machine stitching right here. So we're now going to go over to this side of it. And I think that machine stitching line actually looks really, really nice. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm just going to go right in underneath where the interfacing is right there. And I'm going to pull this through. Oh, whoops, that knot just wasn't quite big enough. I'm using a single thread here because the goal is to have your thread so it doesn't show very much. You can use just regular sewing thread for this. This is really a luxury to just have really nice, tiny, to have an 80 weight thread. I mean, that's definitely a luxury to have. When in the old days, whenever I would applique, I would use silk thread to get a smaller thread. And it would be a smoother thread. I'm going to just pull out that little bit of that corner. It wasn't just super round right there. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm going to just give that a little pull out with my needle. So things that you weren't able to do with the point-to-point turner or necessarily do right away when you're when you're hand stitching this, I'm going to put this knot through the back and just catch that right there. And then I'm going to stitch this like this. So I got to make sure I stay in the camera. So I'm going to bring this up through my fabric. Whoops. Sorry. And I'm going to go back down exactly where I just came up. So you can see that that's right where I came up, and I'm going to go down exactly where I just came up. I'm going to go ahead and pull that. And the hand applique just looks so lovely. It really does. I'm going to bring this back up right here. Pull this through. I'm going to go exactly back down where I just came up, and I'm going to do the same and then just come back up again and just travel right underneath that. So I'm going to go back down. So I really do love hand applique projects, and I love having a hand project. Let me go ahead and get started, and I'll show you a little bit more of my rhythm here. That was the raw edge. So I'm going to go back down exactly where that came up, and I'm going to travel underneath, and I'm going to just catch the edge of that. Oh, you guys, it's so hard for me to stay in that zoomed up area. So we're going to pull that thread. I'm going to go exactly down where that just came up. So you can see there's my thread that just came up. This thread is so fine. I'm going to go back down. So you can see there's just, and really just using any kind of thread is just fine. And then I'm going to travel over underneath and come back over. And this is very similar to my binding stitch that I do. Sorry. This is very similar to my binding stitch, but I'm actually just doing it hand applique. And I'm doing it with a finer thread and only one strand of a thread. I'm going back down where it just came up. I'm traveling over, and then you can see that thread. Okay, so you can see right here that I have stitched so far from here to here. And you can't really see those stitches. I don't know about you guys. Yes, I am Anna. I am going through all layers. So just as my stitching went through all layers with the machine, I'm going through all layers over here, and the back of this looks like this. You can see my little stitches that I did there. Hi, Nina. So you can see the little stitches that I just did there. And see how tiny those are? So I am going through all layers. Very good question. Okay, let's come back over here. We're going to go down right where that is. So right where that thread is coming up, I'm going back down and then traveling over and coming back over like this. And I just make it a little tight, and you can barely see those little stitches, which, I mean, you just need it attached on there. Although you do want to be able to wash it. And this quilt, I want to be able to use this quilt. So I'm going to go for the machine quilted look on this one, where the machine applique look on it, because I am not as worried, because I want to be able to wash it and just really, but you know what, when you hand applique right, you can wash your quilts just as much. But I'm not going to have this, I really want this to be a quilt that will be used in our family. So, and I'm going to bring this over, and I'm going to just stitch that through. And I'm going through all layers. So right here, I just pulled up right here, but I'm going to go back down right at that point. So there's my thread where I pulled up. I'm going to go immediately back down like that. And then I'm going to pull this over, and I'm going to just slightly just go over like that underneath this, and then come back up. So you can see that that's pretty simple to do right there. Okay, so let's go back down at that point and then back over. Does anybody have any questions on this hand applique? Does anybody have any questions? So you can see that the machine applique was very fast. You can see the hand applique is just very nice, and it's extremely hidden, so you don't see it at all. I wish I had had my glasses on when I was catching this edge, because I would have done it a little bit closer to the edge right there, but whatever we do is fine. But you can see the difference between machine applique and hand applique. This quilt, for me personally, I'm going to machine applique it just so I can get it done a little bit faster. And then, but I do hand applique, and I love having hand projects. So this is something where you could actually have this as a project for, say you're going on a trip and you want to be able to hand applique. You could put everything in your little binder over there and then just carry everything along and have everything very secured. So I'm going to put this needle right in here so I don't lose my needle, and I'm going to set this aside. So another thing that I do is when I am actually sewing, I use these little tins for some of my embroidery, some of the things that I might take with me someplace else. So let me go ahead and move this back and move this right here. So you're sewing it in onto the fabric for the quilt. Yes. So this is an appliqued quilt. And so you can either machine stitch it, which when you look from back there, you can't really tell it's machine stitched. And then this one little corner right there is actually hand appliqued. So, but that's how you applique a quilt or applique something. You could be appliquing a heart tonight for something for Valentine's Day, but that's how you do it. But what's really nice about using this binder is you can put everything in the binder. maybe get something to hold your threads, seam ripper, a small pair of scissors, and then you're taken care of to then be portable and to go around and to be portable with it. So anyway, so that is our live for tonight. I wanted to give you guys a little taste of what, how I organize for the Let's Bake quilt, and how I hand applique and then how I machine applique. So you can see it's a pretty basic, I mean, it's really fun. I think cutting out all these shapes is really a lot of fun. And you get just a really phenomenal result. And you really learn a lot by actually doing some of this. Hey, Katie Brady Davis, how are you doing? So if you want to, go ahead and share the video tonight. And today, what we are going to actually go ahead and do as the giveaway, I have like tomorrow's giveaway planned out and everything else. But let's go ahead. I have got Lori Holt's, which you guys, I don't know if you've seen Lori Holt's vintage ribbon or vintage. Oh, I know. That's what I want to do. We'll actually do that. But this is the vintage rickrack. Have you guys seen this? So if people want this, for those that win, we're going to have 3 people win on Facebook tonight. But if you want some of this vintage trim, it's very jaggy. Does that make sense? I'll send you guys some of the vintage trim. Let me know which color you would like, and I will send you at least a yard of this. But if you win, then there's the tan, the blue, the pink, or the green Lori Holt vintage trim. These also come on these little chunky wooden spools, but they're so expensive. So I like buying them 25 yards at a time, and then people can just buy them by the yard for really inexpensive. You love your pins that you got, Jackie. I'm so glad. The other thing that I want to share tonight, and we're going to actually use this, but these are the ribbons that I use to embellish this organizer over here. But look at this darling ribbon. So there's this red heart ribbon right here that's like a little cross stitch. I have these little things with it where it's just like a little sample. But here's a red stitched heart. Here's some scissors. This is a little piece of pattern, and that's a little white flower. So if you want, you can choose either some of the vintage trim, say you're working on the Let's Bake Sew Along, or I actually think the red heart cross-stitched would be really fun to share with you guys tonight for those that shared the video, and I'll send you guys some red cross-stitch. It's the Lori Holt ribbon. So she must have some plans for this. We are actually going to show you how to wrap a pen with these ribbons and, you know, have some really cute decorative pens. This week we're also going to do the, we're going to do how to make the design boards. So this is a design board right here, and I'm going to show you guys how to make your own design boards. And I have got this, this fabric right here. And then I'll show you guys how to put this edge on, and then you just use a piece of foam core, say from the dollar store. So we're going to do that also this week. So if you want to follow Stitches Quilting, and then you can also click down so you can follow and be notified whenever I go live. So we're going to definitely be doing that this week. And we've got some other fun things planned tomorrow. Do you still have the word find squares? Absolutely. Right behind me is my You Are Loved quilt. So if you would like to purchase, and you can just purchase just the square of the fabric. I think that You Are Loved quilt is going to be a quilt that's wonderful for the whole year. And so anybody that wants to purchase that, go right ahead. Yes, happy Valentine's Day to you guys too, you guys. I love it. And let me know where you guys are from and all of that kind of stuff too. So anyway, so what we'll win tonight is some of this cross stitch heart, or unless you want the vintage rickrack. If you do win, then you need to let me know if you want the red cross stitch heart or some of the vintage rickrack. And if you want some of the vintage rickrack, which color you want. There's blue, brown, green, and pink. I don't have her red color. I do not have that one, which is a bummer. I do have all of the mini rickracks. These are the little teeny tiny other rickracks that have come out that she's got like 1/8 of an inch. So Okay, that sounds good. Let's go ahead and figure out who won for tonight. I've got to put on my reading glasses and just put some on here. Let me look. Okay, I'm going through here. Sorry, guys. I always feel so weird looking at this when, you know, anyways. Okay, does the rolling pin have the turned edges with the interfacing? Yes, it is with the interfacing, Carolyn. So absolutely. Okay, so let me look at some people that shared on here. Oh, who do we got? Oh, this is so fun, you guys. I just adore you guys. So that's a net. Oh my gosh. Okay, here's some shared. I see some shared. So get organized. If you want the organization pages for this, it's free. You know, it's just a download. So if you want the organization pages, let me know about that. Let me know what you think about the organization pages, but it's a good way to look at how to organize any quilt that you might be doing that has different blocks. Okay, so I've got Amy Sabot, S-A-B-O-T, has shared. So Amy, if you can let me know with your address where you would like this mailed, if you want the heart, anyways, the heart ribbon or the vintage trim. Let me go back. We've got Anne, K-U-T-C-H-K-A. So Anne Kutcha, is that how you say your name, Anne? So you shared, and so if you can let me know if you want the this red heart stitched ribbon for, since it's Valentine's Day, or the vintage trim. And let's go ahead. And then there's Joe Strasburger Cipher. Okay, so those are 3 people for Facebook tonight. I didn't go live on Instagram because we were doing such tiny handwork, and I didn't go live on YouTube tonight because I'm going to just upload this video to YouTube and also over to Instagram, and then that way, you know, since it was hard to kind of be live and intensely, I didn't know how to get 3 cameras to all go close. So you guys, let me know what you guys want to work on for the rest of the week. We've got lots more days this week, but we're going to do the design board for sure. Let me know if you guys want a video on how to organize this right here. And tomorrow we're going to do something for Valentine's Day. I've got something planned that has to do with some hearts and some other fun things. So we've got lots of stuff going on. But this is for this week's Let's Bake Sew Along block of week 3. And just wanted to show you guys how I get organized. So I will see you guys tomorrow. And I'm so glad you guys joined me. Thank you everybody for joining me tonight. And I did set up a Facebook group for us because I want to see everything that you are making. So the Facebook group's name is Everyone Can Quilt, because I think that's what we're all about, is everyone can quilt, and we're from all around the world. So go ahead and join that Facebook group. I will put a banner on the Stitches Quilting page so that you guys can see that group and know where to join. But just request to join, and you should automatically you'll just get in. Okay, it'll be fun, and I love seeing everything you guys make. So I want you guys to post in there and be real active and all that kind of stuff. All right, have a good evening. Tomorrow will be Valentine's Day, and we're going to do a special Valentine's Day live video, and we'll be making something with some hearts in it. So very good, and I can't wait to see all of you guys' heart quilts too, the You Are Loved heart quilts, and I'll show you my quilt tomorrow. So we'll see you a little bit later. Love you guys tons. Happy Valentine's Day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.